Go, Rabbi.
So good evening, everyone. First, I want to say thank you, the host, Ronen. Hashem will send you blessings, happiness, success. You're always going to feel a sense of achievement and accomplishment with your real soulmate, Bezat Hashem. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I think you need to thank yourself, because if you're here, you're already looking for meaning, for understanding. We got tired of doing things in our life just because. And before, the class was like a joke about this 2025, how we identified ourselves. And I think that it's actually coming from a place of we're seeking for meaning. When people start to have questions and they have doubts who they are, it's unfortunately they end up with wrong conclusion, but it's coming from a good place. It's coming from someone who asks himself, who am I? What I'm doing over here? What's the point of my life? What's the purpose? What's my mission? How I look at things? And it's great, important questions. Doesn't matter if you ask yourself those questions regarding like finding your soulmate, religion, business, your body, soul, spirit. At the end of the day, we all looking for answers. And we know, because we all, watching all the self-motivations, guru kind of talks, and we all know that the answers are inside, and we have them here and here, but still we're looking for them. And sometimes we wake up in the morning and there is kind of a feeling of emptiness. And the topic of the class tonight, and Be'ezrat Hashem, many to come, is about tefillah. Because it's something that we're doing, by the way, not just Jewish people doing that. Many religions, many nations, many countries. You go, they pray, they talk, they daven, right? They do things. Religious people, non-religious people, 1 time a day, 3 times, 5 times a day. If your name is Muhammad, doesn't matter. People are doing it, and not just today, for thousands of years, right? So, what exactly are we talking about? Why are we doing that? What's the point? Can we really change something? And if the answer is yes, how we can change it? And even to more details, like Ronen was saying before, and I had this conversation with him a few times in the past, of, wait a minute, I'm waking up every day, I'm going to Nets, I'm taking my time, putting energy, effort, everything into the prayer, opening the book, I'm there, but wait a minute, what just happened? Like, do I really understand what I'm saying? Do I feel this connection that I supposedly I need to feel? That's the question. And when the answer is no, yes, 100%, it sometimes can bring some kind of feeling of disappointment. I won't say negativity, but disappointment. Like I really want to be there. I really want to feel it. I really, try to do the right thing. So what is tefillah all about? What is tefillah? Because when you really connect yourself to God, to yourself, to your potential, to your power, your day is totally different. Regardless what's going to happen, you're already in a good place. Your relationship with people, your connections, your actions are at a different level. Why? Because you're in a different level. And we know that tefillah is not about changing God. As we all know, because you cannot change God. God is, by definition, something that is, been there, you're always going to be there, you cannot change it. So when you pray, you don't really ask God to change something, because you cannot change God. And if you cannot change God, you cannot change anything that God decided is going to happen. The only thing you can change is yourself. When you're a different person, when you're a new person, better version of yourself, so you're in a different place. So let's say from floor number 1, you have specific view. From number 11, you have a different view. So the building is the same building, the view is the same view, right? The only thing that changed is you. You were from number 1, now you're 11. You change. You see things in a different way. You see yourself in a different way. You become a different person. So what exactly is tefillah all about, right? Before we understand what is tefillah, because yes, we do want to go into the words and the kavanot and the structure and the priorities, because at the end of the day, that's what we do. But before that, we know that tefillah is very powerful. When you open the Mishnayot, for example, Pirkei Avot, right away at the beginning is telling us that the whole world, everything you see, the universe, stand on 3 things, 3 pillars. One of them is tefillah, al Torah, avodah, gemilut chasadim. We know Torah, obviously, it's the wisdom of God that we have. We know that gemilut chasadim is charity, is the ability to give, to share. And then we have avodah. Avodah is the work. But what's the work we're talking about? איזה עבודה שבלב, זוהי תפילה. It's when you work with your heart. When you work with your heart is when you pray. But wait a minute, we pray with our mouth, not with our heart. So why we call it avodah shebalev, work with the heart. And it's so powerful and so important that the whole world, everything you see, standing on your prayer. Because let me tell you something, Mr. Ben Shimon, how many people exist in the world?
7 billion.
7, 8 billion. What do you think, Mr. Golem? Same? What do you think, Sophia? Yeah, so let me tell you something. In this world, there's only one person that exists. One person. It's you. And you. And you. And I'm not trying to be a René Descartes, the French philosopher, I think therefore I am, that he wasn't able to prove philosophy, that there is more people. The only person you can prove that exists is yourself. Because you can always ask yourself, maybe nothing exists. And the only answer you're going to have is, wait a minute, who is asking this question? I'm asking this question. So for sure I exist, because if I think, therefore I am, right? But wait a minute, I think about you. So you exist because I think about you in my head, right? Maybe everything you see, the reality that you live in, it's in your head, right? You can call it illusion, you can call it a dream. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, your surrounding environment, the reality that you know, it's in your head. So wait a minute. So if you exist in my head, so if I want to change you, what do I need to do? Change myself. You know, the Kotzker Rebbe was a big rabbi, Rabbi Mikotz. He says that one time he wanted to change the whole world. And he realized that it's impossible. Can you change the whole world? 8 billion people, Chinese, India. You know, he says, you know what, I'm going to change my country, my people, my language. You know, I can do it. And he realized that it's very difficult because, you know, you have right and left and this and that. Forget it. That's my city. My city, it's easier. You know, we have the same background. And it was impossible. So he says, I'm going to change my family. My family, my wife and kids. Well, what do you mean? And he realized that they don't listen to, you know, your wife and kids. So he says, you know what, I'm going to change myself. I'm going to work on myself. And I will change my personality, my behavior, the way that I see things. And he did. And he changed himself. And the moment he changed himself, he was able to change the whole world. Because you are the whole world. כל המציל נפש אחת מישראל כאילו הציל עולם מלא. If you save one person, you save the whole world. It means that you are the whole world. Everything is in you. Everything. It means that when you look around you, whatever you see, it's a reflection of what you have inside. And you know, you can talk about philosophy, psychology, but basically if you try to understand, and we're going to move forward, but just to get this concept straight because it's very deep, you cannot understand anything if it's not in your conscious. Everything you see, everything you taste, everything you understand, it's only because you have it in your conscious. You can imagine maybe of a pink elephant that is flying if you took ayahuasca, right? And there's nothing new because you know pink, you know elephant, and you know flying. You just put it together. But can you see something new that is not in your conscious? You can't. It means that everything you see around you, it's you. It's a reflection of yourself. You can call it the mirror effect, you can call it karma, but it's you. And if you see something negative in someone, you have it. Because if you don't know about the concept of stealing, let's say you don't know about this concept, you have no idea, no clue about the concept of stealing, can you understand the idea that someone took money that doesn't belong to him? You can't. Because in your head, there's no stealing. So you don't understand it. That's why sometimes kids, you explain something, they don't get it because they don't have it. So it doesn't matter how you will explain it, they just don't have it. Everything you see, it's because you have it. So when we talk about tefillah, it's something that we have. If you don't have, you cannot pray. If you don't have this power, the potential of this connection, you cannot pray. It's meaningless. And we see that the whole world is standing on that concept. It means that you're the whole world, and you, that represent the whole world, is standing. The middle pillar, the power, the center of everything is your ability to pray. You're gonna tell me, I don't understand. I can live my life without praying. What's the problem? Wake up in the morning, I don't pray. Night, I don't pray. What's gonna happen? Everything will be the same. So why are you telling me that the pillar, the main one, the central one, is the power of prayer? And this is the whole world. Kol ha'olam omed. Why? And you see that the foundation of the Jewish people, talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, what's the legacy of those people? The forefathers. Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu, Yaakov Avinu. Think of their power. You know what they left to us today? What are we doing every day that is to remember them? Pray. Shachrit, the morning prayer for Avraham. The Mincha prayer, the noon prayer, the afternoon prayer for Yitzchak. And the evening prayer, Arvit, for Yaakov. And we find in the Torah where Avraham woke up in the morning, and it says, Vayashkem Avraham Baboker, and he established the prayer of the morning. And later on, Yitzchak, he went to Vayetze Yitzchak Lasuach Basadeh. What is Lasuach Basadeh? Lasuach comes from the word conversation, sicha. He went to talk. So he was establishing the tefillah called Mincha, the afternoon prayer. And then Yaakov, when he went to sleep in a place who later on was the same place of Bet HaMikdash, the temple, the holy temple. When he says, this is the house of God, El Zakim Bet Elohim, Bezel Sha'ar HaShamayim, this is the house of God, and gates of heaven, he established the tefillah of Arvit. So when you ask yourself, what Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob gave us? What they gave us? Power of prayer. That's what they gave us. When you think of the leader of the Jewish people, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses. What did Moses do to the Jewish people? The entire 5 books are about prayer. Moses is living in Egypt. What he's doing is talking to Hashem. He's praying. Please, v'salachta la'am hazeh, take care of the people. Please, 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 please. You know, he was praying 515 prayers. He wanted to go to Israel. That's what he did. By the way, the numerical value that you're going to see in the classes, Bezot Hashem, especially in Tefillah, we're going to bring in some numbers because every letter that you see represents a number. Okay? So when we're talking about Aleph is 1, Bet 2, Gimel 3. It's not just a concept, an idea, a hint. This is the real language. When we're talking about the code of the universe, talking about the Hebrew alphabet. God created everything with words. Bezat Hashem, maybe next class we're going to learn about Baruch She'amar, and you'll understand that Baruch She'amar, it means that God created everything with words. Baruch She'amar Vaya Olam, bless God who says, and the word became. So, the code of the universe, it's just like binary language. Any of you deal with computer science? Web engineers, none of you? Start to learn, or Google it, or ask ChatGPT. Binary language, it's 0 and 1. 1 is positive, 0 negative. 1 connection, 0 no connection. Back then, okay, that was, this is computer language, binary language, that's it. On top of it, you know, they add and they develop, and there is C++, and C#, and then any website you open today, you're gonna see HTML, JavaScript, and write the whole thing. But the real thing is 1 and 0. 1, it means connection. 0, it means no connection. 1, it means God. 0, it means no God. 1, it means Anochi Adonai Elohecha Asher Hotzeticha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. This is the first commandment when we receive on Mount Sinai. I'm your God, took you out of Egypt. That's 1. And there is Lo Yeh Lecha Elohim Acherim Al Panai. Don't worship other gods. 0. That's it. 1 and 0. Together, you get 10. 10 is the 10 commandments, the 10 attributes, the 10 sephirot of, start with, depends, Keter or Dat, depends, we're going to talk about, let's show one of the classes about the sephirot, but basically we have Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, or Chokhmah, Bina, Dat, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. This is the 10 attributes, 1 and 0, connection, disconnection. This is all what we have. When God took the Jewish people out of Egypt, He hit the Egyptian people. What did He give him? Aseret HaMakot, the 10 plagues. Everything is about number 10. When Hashem created the whole world, He created the whole world with 10 sentences. בעשרה מאמרות נברא העולם. Number 10 is the complete number. It's not real number, by the way. We only have 9 numbers. 1 to 9. 0 is not a number, and 10 is not a number. But this is when you learn, the concept of numbers in science. So you can learn that it was at some point the Greeks had it, etc. So we take the 10 as the complete number, existing and not existing. When you pray, you're on channel 1. That's what you do. The question is how you do it. So actually there was a woman, her name was Hannah. You heard about Hannah? Great woman. Hannah, by the way, comes from the name Hannah, come from the 3 signs that Yaakov gave to Rachel when they're about to get married. So you know that Yaakov got engaged with Rachel, and she had a twin, Leah, sister, older, but they were twins. Just Leah was the older. And Yaakov was afraid they're gonna switch and change Rachel with Leah. So Yaakov told Rachel, listen, when I will come, I will ask you, what's the simanim, what's the signs that I gave you, and you will answer. And what she did, she, gave that to Leah. We're not gonna go into this story right now, but basically, Yaakov gave Rachel 3 simanim. What did he give her? He gave her the 3 things that he received from his mother, Rivka, that she received from her mother-in-law, Sarah. Chala, Afrashat Chala, Nida, the laws of purity, and Hadlakat HaNer, to light the candles for Shabbat. If you realize, Chala, Chet, Nida, laws of purity in a Jewish home, Nun, Hadlakat HaNer, the candle lighting of Shabbat, Hey, give you the name of Chana. By the way, this is the source for the Moroccan minhag to do henna. If you ever been, before the wedding, they do henna. The henna is what Yaakov did to Rachel. He gave her the henna. Chala, Nida, Hadlakat HaNer. By the Syrian, we call it Seniye, but it's the same concept. So, Chana was a great woman, and she was married to Elkanah. No kids. She suffered, she cried, no kids. One day she decided to go to the Holy Temple back then, who was in Shiloh, was in a different place, not in Yerushalayim. And the main priest was Eli Kohen. He was the Kohen, he was there. She's going to pray. And she was the first person to pray, but she wasn't loud. She was very quiet. And her lips was moving, Sefateh na'ot vekola lo yishama. But you could not hear her voice. She was like whispering. So the Kohen, Eli, he had a choshen. There was a very special power called Urim Vetumim, when you can have all the letters, the Hebrew alphabet, with lights, different stones, had some sapphire, emeralds, different things. And he saw the lights with the letters. I don't know if you remember, but back then, before the smartphone, you used to send text message, you had the numbers, right? When, you know what I'm talking about? When the star was ABC and then one was right? You know what I'm talking about? You're too young to understand what I'm talking about.
Snake.
Okay? Exactly. So that was the Choshen. Okay? He had 12 stones for the 12 tribes, and he was used to see letters, right? Just like some people, they doing whatever, negativity, we're not gonna mention it. But basically, he has some light on letters, okay? So he see Shin, Kaf, Reish, Hey. What's the word that you get? Shikora. Shin, Kaf, Reish, Hey. Drunk woman. So he's looking at it and says, are you drunk? Why are you whispering? Go back to your husband. Go home. So he told them with all the respect, you don't know how to read. It's not Shin, Kaf, Reish, Hey. It's Kaf, Shin, Reish, Hey. They refer to Kshera. I'm a kosher woman, 100% perfect. Or Kesara, I'm just like Sarah Imenu. When Eli heard it, he was like, wow. This woman, she's legit. She knows what's going on. Better than him. He didn't say anything. And let me tell you something. Not only did God answer and accept her prayer, and she was the mother of Shmuel the prophet, that was in a higher level than Moshe and Aaron together, and he appointed King David to be the king. And later on, Mashiach will come from him. That was her son. Not only that, all the laws of prayers that we have today, we're learning from Hannah. That's why when we pray Shemona Esrei, you pray quiet or loud? Quietly, to yourself. Why? Because this is how she was praying. It means that not only that God accepted her prayers, we today learn the halachot from her. She didn't give up. And she was teaching us, and the Kohen, in the Holy Mishkan, that, hey, don't interrupt a connection between a woman and God. She was there. She was in channel 1. She was connected. How we can do it? How we can achieve that? Because when you look at it, the power of the Jewish people, it's only tefillah. Only tefillah. Who says, Anna tira'i tola'at Yaakov. Don't be afraid. Tola'at, you know what is tola'at? Worm. Worm of Yaakov. Why you compare us to worm? Do I look like worm to you? No? Why? So the Gemara says, the rabbis explain that the power of tola'at, worm, it's in her mouth. That's the power, right? Jewish people, our power, kochenu befinu, our powers with our words. We create reality. We change everything with words. Today, Baruch Hashem, yes, we have State of Israel, Baruch Hashem, we have that, but think about it, the last 3,000 years, what did we offer to the whole world as Jewish people, the Jewish nation? Words, wisdom, power of talking. Abracadabra. Abracadabra, it's in Aramaic. I will create as I speak. Evra ka'adabera. That's what we brought to this world. And you see it with Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Hannah, the mother of Shmuel. And we have it. So what is tefillah? What is tefillah? We see that we have it in the Jewish nation. We see that this is the most powerful thing. The whole world stand on that pillar we call tefillah, prayer. Not only that, today, where you find God, if you want to look for God, you go to shul. This is the place when he's a godly. Obviously, you can find God in you, everywhere. But basically, a place of God is a shul when people pray. More than that, talk about, prayer. Everything we want to achieve is through tefillot, because today we don't have the holy temple. We don't have Beit HaMikdash. Can you bring sacrifice? Can you bring a korban today and offer to God? No. So what are we doing? Uneshalma parim sefatenu. We're using our lips as a sacrifice. Every time you open your mouth and it says, God, I'm with you, and you talk, either you read text from the Siddur or you talk in your own words, you bring an offer. What is the offer? What is the sacrifice that you bring to God? Yourself. Yourself. Through prayer, you give yourself to God. And He's taking it. And it means that you're with God. So what is tefillah? Let's start with the word itself. With the word itself, what's the meaning of tefillah? Any of you know Hebrew, speak Hebrew? The word of tefillah, tzaddik, in the back. What's your name?
Hi.
Shalom.
Sorry.
Dylan. מה זה תפילה? What is the word tefillah?
Tefillah is prayer.
Yeah, not translation. The meaning of the word tefillah in Hebrew. We know that in Hebrew, every word have a meaning, have a root to the name, right? Everything you see around you, by the way, in English, it's only a sign to know. For example, this is table. What's the meaning of table? Nothing. You just know when I'm saying table that I mean to this piece of furniture. How you say table in Hebrew? Shulchan. What's the meaning of shulchan? Let me tell you. Every word have a root. The root of the word shulchan is shin lamed chet. Shin lamed chet. Shin lamed chet in Hebrew it means messenger, shaliach. So instead of me holding the water the whole time, I have my messenger that will do it for me. Who is this messenger? Table. Shulchan, it's not just a piece of furniture. It's something that I use. Instead of me doing that, table will do something for me. Every word in Hebrew has a meaning behind. Everything. either through the numerical value that we say, that I told you about numbers, and by the way, as I told you, Moshe prayed 515 tefillot. This is how we came to the binaric language when the real thing about the letters is the number. So Aleph is 1 and Bet is 2. The numerical value of tefillah, Taf, Pei, Yud, Lamed, Hey, it's 515. This is the same numerical value of the word Va'et Hanan. That is the parasha, the portion of the Torah when Moshe begged to Hashem. How you say and he begged to Hashem? Va'et Hanan. The numerical value of Va'et Hanan is 515. He prayed, the Midrash telling us, 515 times. By the way, what was the tefillah number 515? What exactly he did? Side point. Imagine he prayed 1 time, 2, 3, 400, 200, 400, 514. 515. What was the prayer 515? What did he do on the 515? What he was saying? You ever thought about it? You know that in the 515 there was no words. 515, the prayer was only music. He was singing to God. The numerical value of singing shira, in Hebrew shira, shin yud resh hey, it's 515. That prayer he was singing to Hashem. That was a higher level of connection to his soul. No words. When you say something with words, you know what you're doing? When you talk, can you create voice without words? Just say, can you do it? Please? Perfect. When you say word, what you're doing, you cut the right? For example, if I would say, it means nothing. But if I say ba, means nothing. But if I say ba, it's becoming Abba, Father. So what created the word? The fact that I stopped the voice, right? Means nothing. Ba, it's a father. So words is when you stop. By the way, you know, there's lots of concept of meditations and breathing in tefillah that we're gonna get Bezat Hashem later. When you understand the words, you understand when you're praying. You don't say just Baruch Atah Hashem. You understand when you say Ba, what's the power? Because the word is when you stop it, but the kavanah is when you start. The kavanah is not when you say the Ba and you stop the Ba. Baruch. The kavanah is when you do the Ba and you start taking the air out. This is kol ha-neshama tehalel hallelujah. The breathing, the soul, that's what comes out. All of us, unfortunately, we stop when we stop. Our, the main focus is when you stop the word, Baruch, but you stop. So if your kavanah is when you stop, you're stopping yourself. And we want the opposite. We want to be open. We want shefa. We want blessing. We want, love. We want to get everything, right? So this is something that we need to understand how you're doing that. So when Moshe Rabbeinu is praying to Hashem, he decided that there is no more breaking down the voice, the sound. It's going to be pure sound. Just like music. Didn't stop. Just move with the sound. That's the prayer number 515. We want to be there. We want to talk to God on a flow, with a movement, because this is how God created the whole world, by the way. The pasuk goes like that. והארץ הייתה תוהו ובוהו, וחושך על פני תהום. The earth, everything you see, was big mess, was tohu and bohu. Tohu, it means tohe, thinking, spacing out. There was nothing there that you can understand. And there was completely darkness, choshech. But then what the pasuk says, ורוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים. Spirit of God was floating on the water. What is Spirit of God? What is Spirit of God? The Torah is telling us that when God created the first human, says, "Va'ipach be'apiv nishmat chaim." Hashem blew himself in the first human. Just like you take a balloon, that's what God did. Va'ipach be'apiv. Says the translation on Telus in Aramaic, leruach memalela. Power of speech, the ability to talk. So ruach, when we talk about ruach, air, it's the ability to talk. This is, by the way, image of God. When someone asks you, what is image of God? And by the way, you should ask yourself every day, because the Torah is telling us that you're image of God. Mrs. Lugassi, you're image of God. You know that? Now you know that. You're image of God. You're image of God. Each one of us is image of God. What do you mean image of God? Obviously, it's not physically. God is not. It doesn't have a body. Doesn't have a face. What do you mean image of God? Lots of understanding. Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, great Mikubal, was living in Tzfat 500 years ago. He was at the time of the Holy Arizal, the Holy Al-Sheikh. Rabbi Yosef Karo, who wrote the book Bet Yosef, Marana Bet Yosef, when we follow his halachot, Shulchan Aruch. And Rabbi Shlomo Alevi El-Kabatz. You heard about Rabbi Shlomo Alevi El-Kabatz? Great guy. You all know him. He wrote the song Lecha Dodi. You can see on the letters of the different paragraphs on Lecha Dodi his name. Shamo Vezachor Shin. Likrat Shabbat Lamed. Right? Mikdash Melech Mem. Hitna Hey. Shlomo Alevi. Shlomo Alevi. He came one day to show, says, guys, I have a new song. You're gonna love it. You know, Rabbi Moshe, was Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, come over here. The Holy Arizal, join us. Rabbi Chaim Vital, let's go to the mountain. And they went to the mountain of Tzfat, and he started with the song. Shamo Vezacho, that was the first time. I'm telling you, I was there, it was amazing. So, that time, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, he wrote a book called Tomer Deborah. And he explained image of God. He says, you know what it means, image of God? God has mercy. God is kind. God has patience. God is a giver. Be like that. That's image of God. Be like that. Ma'or rachum avatar rachum. But there is another interpretation. There's many different understandings, but there's another interpretation that I learned when I was in yeshiva that at the beginning I didn't understand because it's deep. But now when we're talking about prayer, you must know it. You must know. The rabbi, whose name is Rabbi Chaim Mivolozhin, was a big Rosh Yeshiva, and he wrote a book called the Nefesh HaChaim, Soul of Life. And right at the beginning, he talked about image of God. And he asked who we are. Sha'ar HaYechud. He said, who we are. What it means, image of God. And he says, in order for you to understand what is image of God, you need to understand what is God, right? Did you ever met God, Jonathan? No? What about you, in the back? You? Frank, did you meet God? Did you saw him? You heard him? You smell him? None of us. Right? So how you can know God? How you can judge God? How you can understand God? Based on his actions. For example, I went to Paris with my wife, was last Sukkot. Had a wedding over there. And he says, I'm already there, let me go to the Louvre. You ever been there? Lots of nonsense. Wanted to see the Mona Lisa, you know, because I like Da Vinci and I read about him and learned about him, and it's like, you know what, let me go see it, right? By the way, it's a little painting, just so you know. It's not like you think it's a little thing. You wait 2 hours in line and there's like so many people, then you see like a little Mona Lisa, ugly woman looking at you like, you know, like seriously. Lots of depth inside, by the way. There is lots of secrets of Da Vinci. You can read the book or watch the movie if you're lazy, but there's lots of interesting stuff that obviously connected Judaism, Illuminati, and lots of nonsense. He was Jewish, by the way, also, Da Vinci. Da Vinci is meant from the city of Vinci, by the way. Leonardo from the city called Vinci, and his mother, unfortunately, was a Jewish who was sold to Italian guy, unfortunately, as a servant. And he took her at the beginning as a servant, as a slave, then he got married with her, they had a baby, and then she left back to her family. They pay some money, and Leonardo grew up without mother, just so you know. So some says the Mona Lisa was his mother, and she's Jewish, etc. There's different understanding, very interesting. But I don't know who's Da Vinci, right? So how can I learn about Da Vinci? By watching his stuff, his painting, by looking at it. That's how I know who's the guy. That's gonna be the way, right? So, Lavdil, God forbid, I don't even compare. But if I want to know something about God, how can I know? I need to see his painting, right? The whole word is tziyur, ayotzer yachad libam. You heard about word of creation, book of creation? How do you say creation in Hebrew? Yetzirah. What is Yetzirah? Yud Tzura is the shape of God. Yetzirah, Yud Tzura. Creation, it means the shape that God created, painted. How you say in Hebrew? Tzayar, right? So painting, tziyur. This is exactly what we're talking about. This word is the tziyur, is the painting of God. So when you look on the Mona Lisa, what do you see? You see Da Vinci. When you look in this world, what do you see? God. But how God created this? How He was painting this world? Doing what? Speaking. He was talking. He says, Bereshit. Boom, this is the first thing that He said. Yehi or. Light, boom, light. Everything that He was saying was created by words. That's why, by the way, when we drink water, what do we say? Shehakol nihiya bidvaro. Everything created with this dibur, with His words, right? How you say things in Hebrew, by the way? Things. Dvarim. What is dvarim? Diburim. Everything around you, it's words. It's all diburim. Everything you see around you, power of speech. Go back to the concept that there is only one person that exists. Everything around you, it's you. It's your reality. It's you existing. That's what you have. Words. So says Rabbi Chaim Volozhin, you know what it means? Image of God, power of speech. But the power of speech of God was not words that way that we have it. Let's go back to the pasuk, to the verse in the Torah. Veruach Elohim merachefet al pnei hamayim. Spirit of God was floating on the water, surfing. It means that the power of speech is when you have a flow, not when you stop. Singing. Singing, it's a flow. That's the prayer of Moshe Rabbeinu. By the way, why it says on top of the water? Water is the only thing that have no shape, no color, no taste. It's see-through. You can read it both sides. Mem yud mem, mem yud mem. By the way, if you put the word on a 3-dimension, you're gonna see mem, yud, and mem as a cube. It means that you have a cube that inside what we're gonna find? Yud, God. We have it inside. Everything that exists around us, it's with water. Proof of existing, as the science, water. You decide how the water / life will be. The color, the shape, the taste, the combination, the structure, the temperature, everything. You decide. How? With Spirit of God. What is Spirit of God? Power of speech. Prayer. When you're praying, you're not just connecting to our forefathers Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. You're not only using the concept of Chana, of asking things. You're not even being nice or recognizing the good things that God gave you. You're much more than that. You become God. Image of God. Godly. You're creating your own reality. When you pray, you cannot change God, as I say. You can't, because God is unchangeable. So what exactly are we doing? In order to understand the word tefillah, we need to go to the first place in the Torah when they mention this word tefillah. As I told you, the root of tefillah is pei lamed. Tefillah, taf, it's you should be like tenakeh, you should clean, right? Titpalel, you should pray. So the tefillah, the taf, belong to the part of the word of you should, right? Pei lamed. This is the word that we need to understand what exactly it means. And hey, it's God. So you should, 3 dots, God. You should connect to God. You should talk to God. You should, look for God. What is Pei Lamed? That's our question, right? So you go into Torah and you find where is the first time Pei Lamed is mentioned. And we find it with the story of Sarah having a baby. When Sarah Imenu, she had her son, Yitzchak. What the Torah is telling us, Mi pilel umi milel banim leSarah. Who thought, I'm just giving you translation that is not attached to the word, but just to understand, who thought that Sarah will have kids, right? But what is pilel? Pilel, the rabbi translate, who had hope. And who talk, milel, milim, and who say that Sarah will have kids. No one had hope that Sarah will become a mother, including Sarah. That's why she was laughing. But it's like Sarah. Why she was laughing? Because no hope. I will become a mother? Forget it. Nonsense. She was laughing. Pilel, it means hope. So when you pray, what it means, you should have hope when you talk to God. If you don't have hope, you're going to pray or you're not going to pray? You're not going to pray. We only pray when we have a hope to change something about our life. If there is nothing to change, if there is no hope, don't pray. The rabbis are telling us in the Mishnah, do not pray. It's called tefillat shav. It's prayer in vain if you ask something that it's impossible or doesn't exist. Let's say someone had a baby and it's a girl and he wants to have a boy, let's say. And he prayed to Hashem, please. Says the Mishnah, tefillat shav. Man, you had a baby girl, say thank you Hashem, be happy, move on with your life. Don't pray to change it. It's unchangeable. There's nothing to do about it, right? It means that if you don't have hope to change something, don't pray. And if you pray, the Torah call it, the Mishnah, in vain. It's stupidity. It's meaningless. It's waste of time. It's even a problem because that's proof that you never understood the point of tefillah. So what it means tefillah? To have hope. But how you can have hope? Only if things will be different than they are today. If things will be the same or worse, there's no hope, right? So only when you believe that things can become better than today, you have hope. So therefore you can pray. But how things will become better? One condition. If you change yourself. You go to the gym. First time, they give you 10 pounds. You know? You use, very nice. You're doing it. Now, when you use the 10 pounds for 2 weeks, you become stronger. Now you can do 20 pounds. The person of the 20 pounds exists in you or not? We must say that this person exists in you. Because if not, you never reach that level. It means that you had the power to lift 20 pounds. So why you cannot do it in first day? Because you're not ready. When you work on yourself, now you reach that level that you're ready to bring your potential to reality. You have it. It's in you. You lifting the 20 pounds, and then the 40, and then the 100, and then 200. You, not your neighbor, not your friend, not your spouse. You doing that. But how? I wasn't able to do it a year ago. Yeah, but it's you. A year ago, you had potential. Today, you have reality. You know what is tefillah? Tefillah is the bridge between potential and reality. You cannot pray for something you don't have. Impossible. Because prayer, it's a hope that you have for yourself. Not for God, for yourself. And this hope, it's only when you believe that you can change yourself. And you can only change yourself if you have it in you. So when you pray, you bring that power, that koach, el hapoal, to reality. Using what you have, the energy, the skills, the talents, the capabilities, the power, to reality. When you open the book, either you're a man, you put the tefillin in the morning, or you close your eyes for Shema, or you light the candles before Shabbat. What you're doing right now, you're building a bridge between your power, your energy, your connection to reality, to your existing, to your environment. That's what you do. And the power of tefillah is so strong and so powerful that this is everything. Because if you don't pray, it means you have no hope. And you have no hope, it means you don't believe that you can change yourself. And if you don't believe that you can change yourself, it means you don't have it in you. And if you don't have it in you, who are you? And if who are you, it's the answer, so you don't exist. And if you don't exist, the whole world does not exist because I think, therefore I am. And if nothing exists, so poof, no reality. And that's why the Mishnah is telling us when you pray, the whole world is standing on your prayer. You right now created the reality that you have. This is tefillah. Mi pilel u'mi milel banim lesara. That's why when Eli told Hannah, you're drunk, shikora, she told him, no, kesara. You remember the word in Sarah Pilel, hope? That's what I'm doing right now. I have hope. He says, you have hope for what? He says, to have kids. You married 20 years, no kids. Now you're going to have kids? She says, yes. He says, why? He says, you know why? Because I have a hope that I can elevate myself, that I can grow, that I can become the best version of myself. And you know how I'm going to call my son? Shmuel. You know what is Shmuel? Sham El. There is God. God is there. Find it. You have it in you. And it's even more than that. Shmuel, it's also Shem Ve'el. This is Ishmael, to listen. That it's, by the way, is the same concept. What is Shem and God? The word Shem in Hebrew, it's name in English. Shem, it's the root of the word Mashma'ut. Mem, Shin, Mem, Ayin, Vav, Taf. The root of this word is Shem. Mi, Shem, Ut. What is Shem? Meaning. Mashma'ut is meaning. By the way, if you realize, name, it's also sounds like the root of meaning, even though in English you don't have it, but many times you find some kind of connection. Like yain in Hebrew and wine in English. We do find this correlation. It's etymology, basically, how the words become in different languages. But this is when you learn, class linguistics of stuff like that. But basically, Shem and God, it means you put your meaning in God. What it means, I know that when I understand the meaning of my life that God gave me, I can achieve anything I want. That's why Shmuel become the highest level. Higher level than Moshe and Aaron. He was the one who appointed 2 kings, Shaul and David. Crazy thing. You know who is Shmuel? Who is Shmuel? Each one of us is Shmuel. And we're going to end up with that. Why each one of us is Shmuel? Because each one of us have a name. Your name is Yonatan. So you have a name. You believe in God? So you are Shem and God. You know how we call it? We call it Neshama. Neshama sheli. מה זה נשמה? Neshama is soul. Nun, Shin, Mem, Hey. Inside Neshama, what do you have? Shem. Nun refer to Ner, the candle. Candle of who? Of Hey, of God. The candle of God is your soul. Ner Hashem, Nishmat Adam. The candle of God is your soul. What it means? It means that if you find meaning in what you're doing, the inner self of your soul is the meaning for your life. Shem. And when you find that, you, together with God, you become one with God. Israel, Oada v'Kodesh Baruch Hu Chadu. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. What is Shema? To listen. Sham Ayin. Our eyes is there. This is Shema. What do you mean listen? I'm listening to you. What exactly I'm doing? You know, when you listen to someone, you basically exist in his mind. Why? Because he say let's say Abba. I say and ba. When you hear ba, exist or don't exist? Don't exist. Ba, it's not there anymore. So how you listening to me? When you put things from your memory together with what you hear right now. So before was now is ba. You put it together, Abba. So you creating the message that I'm telling you. This is Shema Israel. We creating the message of God. When we listen to God. When we take and ba and putting it together and listening to Abba, to our Father. This is what we are doing. This is why Sham Ayin is when you look at it, it's become reality. Sham Ayin, look at it. This is the meaning of it. When we're praying, we can do anything we want because we create our own reality. We build the bridge between our potential and reality. We develop connection between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu through image of God. Because God used power of speech to create this world, the universe. We will use power of speech to create our own reality. ורוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים. You will use the power of speech, the flow of your words, the singing, the beautiful tune of the tefillah to shape the water, to shape your soul, to shape yourself, your reality, to put a color and a structure and a shape and a taste and a meaning to it. Why? Because you are a spirit of God. You are image of God. You have the power of speech. You have a hope. You know you can change. You know you can grow. You believe in yourself. When you pray, you bring that power to reality. So, Be'ez Hashem, in the next class, we're going to learn how to bring everything we learned today to the words. How when I'm saying, Modeh ani lefanecha, or when I'm saying, Baruch she'amar v'haya olam, or when I'm saying, Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agiti ilatecha, how I bring this bridge to reality, how I bring this connection to Tachlis, how can I have this hope when I need money, or I want to get married, or I want kids, how can I do that? This is going to be Be'ez Hashem. Next class, we're going to learn about Baruch she'amar, bringing power of speech to reality. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for joining. It's amazing. I feel like it's more of a learning together. And may HaKadosh Baruch Hu will accept all of our prayers when we will really use this power of speech that we have to become godly and to change our reality and our existing to the best version of ourselves. Thank you everyone.
Zaka Baruch.